so since we do have a quorum, we're going to call the meeting to order at 6:01 p.m. of the Naval Run Unified School District Board of Directors meeting, June 7th, and we're right here at the central office. So the first thing that we need to do is an agenda review. I don't know if anyone has anything they want to add or subtract from the agenda. I am going to add in, it's going to be 7D, and it's going to be discussing the retreat, and that's going to be under old business. Anyone else? So if we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so the next section is the visitors section. I don't know if there's anyone that wants to make comments in the visitor section. Okay, so I'm gonna read the public comment visitor section of the meeting is an opportunity for community members to address issues of concern about policy, budget, or administrative matters, or to share ideas about how we can work together to improve our schools. We value input and respect divergent views. We ask that you limit your remarks to 3 minutes and refrain from airing grievances with individual members of the community, including respecting the privacy of students and parents. Those attending remotely may type their full name in the comments section if they wish to speak. Before the meeting, the comments may be disabled. So, if you want to stand and just introduce yourself again.
My name is Lisa LaRose, and my daughter is a student at SATEC. I wanted to come tonight to give an update to the board. On Friday, May 12th, I emailed the board in the district with concerns regarding our daughter's school and her treatment there. I spoke of the many confidentiality issues. By Monday, May 15th, my daughter noticed a significant change in her school environment. Were those concerns noted, investigated, or simply sent to the SATEC staff? The school has already admitted they can't keep our daughter safe. Confidentiality continues to be an issue, and now interactions are strained for staff and camp. Our daughter spoke of daily changes and feeling uncomfortable. Our concerns regarding this additional stress on our daughter was so great that on Friday, May 19th, we removed her from the school environment. She is completing her work from home at this time. Wednesday, May 24th, was an IEP meeting that the school requested to talk about an alternative placement. Again, we heard the school can't keep her safe. I won't comment on the rest of the meeting, but we were surprised to hear comments referenced by staff members about information shared with this board when we had never even heard back from anyone about our concerns. Our daughter continues to thrive. She misses her friends in the end-of-year activities. She understands the importance of speaking up and speaking out. Her only comment when we returned from the IEP meeting was, "Why didn't they protect me?" We are relieved that she is not hearing racial slurs every day in responses from staff, like the one made following her statement during a heavy day of bullying, that she was going to go emu and wear all black. The response was, "Wouldn't that just be called camouflage?" And the staff member laughed. Cambry was horrified. Totally unacceptable to mock her skin color with a statement like this. We tried to work with the school. We reached out to the district and this board. Due to these events and so many more, we do not have confidence that a fair and impartial investigation can be done within the district, and we have sought outside counsel. I do thank you all for allowing me this time to speak. I would normally stay. My daughter has a soccer game tonight, and I'm not going to miss it. So thank you all for allowing me to speak.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
Just before you do anything else, I would like to, but first, I have my letter of resignation, and it is effective immediately. And I would ask now permission to speak as public.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for everything that you've given me as far as your time and energy.
Peter, I'm also just gonna start the time watch. So just.
I'm going to change topics so quick, you're not going to stay with me.
So what?
I'm going to change topics very quickly. No, just go ahead, whatever. The things that I've served on a number of boards, and I've always had a number of thoughts, and that is, God give me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I'm going to tell you that I have struggled with this board, that when I ran for this board, there are some promises that I made to myself and to other people, and they were that I would defend and work hard to keep the SRO program. I failed at that. My promise was that I would control the economy, particularly of central office, try to keep the salaries within range of the community that we live. I failed at that. I'm looking at trying to make St. Albans, Fairfield, the best school in the state. You're going to have to continue to work on that. I don't believe we do that by doing what other Chittenden County schools are doing. I think we have to do things different. If you do like other people do, you are like them. If you want to be better, you have to be different. So those things I failed at, and I accept those as my failure. When you're on a committee and you fail, you've got a couple choices. You can argue and continue, and I've done that. I feel I've given those topics my best shot, and I failed. I accept that. You can wait the board out. As I look around, a lot of you are younger than me. I'm not going to have to be successful at waiting you out. The third thing you can do is to leave the board, and that's what I'm choosing to do. At this point in my life, I've got other things I would rather be doing that are more rewarding than my time on this board. I've got grandkids, I've got children, I've got my wife. I should be spending more time with them, and I'm not leaving here thinking, wow, I made a difference. I haven't, and I accept that. So I want to leave and thank you all very much for the time and the experience, and I wish you obviously the best of luck. My apologies for being late, I went to the wrong place. But thank you for the time and experience, and good day. Oh, if anybody wants it, I can have my name tag. If not, I'll take it as a parting gift.
It's fine with me.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Delorier.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
I would, but I've never been to anything like this, so I guess I came to ask a question. I'm not sure it'll be answered.
Okay, so if you could just state your name and where you're from?
Melissa Montaigne, I live in St. Albans Bay. I have 7 children. They all go through Faithful Run Town School to BFA. So the other day I dropped my son off at BFA. There was a young girl, my guess freshman, sophomore, wearing see-through pants. They were probably, in my opinion, meant for the beach, like cover-up pants. She was wearing them with a black thong. I could tell you the print on her underwear. So I said to my son, like, isn't she going to be dress coded and sent home? And he said no. So not really believing a 15-year-old knows the school policies, I called BFA. And I asked what their dress codes were. And I was told no marijuana, no beer logos. Besides that, we don't want to make a female uncomfortable by telling her that her clothes are inappropriate. And that last year, 5 times more females were dress coded than males. I told the woman I was speaking to, I don't feel this is about gender. I don't want to see my son wearing see-through clothes or my daughter. What I do feel is that it's a safety issue, being a 15-year-old girl walking around in front of boys her own age, male and female teachers. I don't think it's appropriate, and I think it's a safety issue of protecting her body. And I was told that that's not really how it works. So I know at SATEC, there is a dress code. The teachers, if they see your belly button, they tell you, put a sweatshirt on or something. It's not allowed. But to be told at BFA, it's no marijuana or no beer logos, and that's it. Besides that, I guess you can come to school completely showing your body. I found that hard to believe, but I had talked to 2 separate people, and that's what I was told. So I feel like I don't have a picture on my phone because I didn't want to defile the girl by snapping a photo to show you all. But I asked my son after I called, I said, did you see that girl again? And he said, I saw her at 5th period. I said, she was still wearing the see-through pants after I called? And he said, I don't know, what time did you call? And I said, I called at 8 a.m. So I just felt it was inappropriate, and I can't believe there's not a dress code.
Thank you.
John, can you get her contact information? We'll follow up.
Yeah, so,
We'll follow up.
yeah, one of us will follow up.
It'll be one of us from the central office, just would
Okay.
like to hear more about that, you talked to and all that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
Are we part of the agenda? Sorry.
You are
Okay.
on the
Yeah.
record. Yeah, Matt, you're all set.
So that few minutes left, you quick, guys.
You also do have someone for online participation as well. Sorry, it's Matthew LaFleur, who also shared that if his internet may cut out, but he would like to participate.
Yeah, and he's part of the
Right.
presentation.
I just wasn't sure, Matt, or I don't know, Mike, I'm sorry, Matt, I wasn't sure if you wanted to participate separate from that.
Seems like we lost him.
Looks like gone.
He was up there.
Okay, so it did cut out on him.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so,
Just want to wait and see if he gets back.
yeah,
Okay. I mean, we could probably get into the presentation. I know he's going to be part of the presentation with community connections.
so can we move on to the consent agenda? And, I guess, unless there's any objections, we'll accept the consent agenda as listed. All right, and then, this is what Matt is.
Yeah, Matt's going to lead that. So there's a student board report.
So let's do this, let's go on to the student board representative announcements, and then we'll get to the community conversations summary. So, hello, Leah, how are you?
So,
And Jamie, good to see you.
we have a new member.
Hi, I'm Jaden. I'm currently a freshman attending BFA. Year's almost over. Yeah. I came from city school since I've been out of school since kindergarten. So yeah.
Thank you.
So for our student report, we have decided to kind of merge it with the community conversation to just save some time.
Okay. So I guess we're just waiting to see if Matt gets on.
Hopefully he'll come back, but
Do you want to start without him?
Well, yeah, because he's a little further
Okay.
down, so I guess.
All right, so we're going to have the 2022-2023 community conversation summary.
Let me stand over here. So my name is Matt Allen. I'm a member of the Community Conversation Organizing Committee, and we're here to present the report to the board. And so I guess we can jump in and get started.
yeah, John's trying to
I'm
get your
pulling
slides
it
up.
up right
Oh,
now.
perfect. Next, while we're doing that, I know you all will have a chance to speak, but will the other members, would you be interested, would be up for introducing yourselves?
Sure.
Do you wanna-
I'm Dr. Jen Williamson. I'm a parent and was part of the community conversations, listening and the organizing committee.
And I'm Tracy Sweeney. I'm a parent of a BFA student and also a member of the organizing committee and attended the listening sessions in the fall.
Christy Marcus, a teacher at City School.
you want to introduce? Oh, I guess, yeah.
Beautiful. My name is Davis Joe. I'm a junior at BFA, and I was a part of listening sessions. I went to some of the summit, but I'm not in the group.
I'm Jaden. I'm also a student at BFA, and I took part in the summit.
And the role I played, so I'm a community member at St. Albans, 2 boys at BFA who went to city school, and I work at city school as well. So this year, we've partnered with the Creative Discourse Group to engage our community in a conversation about what we can do to help strengthen the school community for for all students, staff, and families, especially those from marginalized communities or whose voices have not been heard in the past. So that's what we did. And next slide. This work started with listening committees that were held in the fall and winter. And we were asked these 3 questions. What is going well within our school and our greater community? What needs to be improved? And what challenges are people facing, and how do we support them? These listening sessions included 150 different people, 60 of them being community members and 90 of them being students. Next slide. Those who were involved were very grateful to have these conversations. There's a couple of the quotes that came from participants who are up here. Having these conversations and allowing people to have a voice is a great idea. It's awesome that we are doing this. And I actually am really glad I had the chance to listen to everyone here tonight. I learned so many things I did not know or realize. While we had great input from 150 voices, we want to acknowledge that not all voices were equally represented. And we have very few people from BIPOC and LGBTQ+ communities in the community groups. The student groups had a more diverse representation, but they included young people who are highly engaged. The voices of students who are less connected have important experiences to share that are also not represented here. In January, we formed the Community Conversations Organizing Committee that had representation of students, staff, family, and board and community members. This group merged its work with the Goals Committee. With the help of the Creative Discourse Group, specifically Sue McCormick and Zariah Hightower, the group was led through a process to collaboratively plan and deliver a summit on April 15th. After the summit, we met twice to review the data from the summit to help produce the report you have received. And now we're going to hear from some participants as they talk about their experience going through the process, what it means to them, and their hopes for the future. And I will ask that each person try to keep their comments to a few minutes. We're going to start with students. Jaden, do you want to share your experience?
So stepping in, like, when I walked in, it felt like a community there. Like, it felt like a safe space when you walked into the library with all the chairs there, everyone there. When we got, like, into the presentation stuff, speaking wasn't really a big deal. For me, it wasn't that scary. And when we split off into our groups, I was also a part of the behavior and bias and behavior response group. And each group, on their behalf, they talked about their topic and they had sticky notes. We all had our independent thinking time to put whatever we thought about the topic on our sticky notes. And once we finished, we put them, and then we had a poster board sheet, and then we put them in categories on what to work them in. And yeah. It feels like this is giving Maple Run more help. It's giving the school, it's making us make school feel better than how it's now. Yeah. And I hope that all schools, Fairfield, SATEC, City School, and BFA, have more sustainable, how do I say it? Everyone's just not how they are right now. Everyone's fine, everyone's nice. We don't have to deal with that many problems in the school and their students. Just hoping that everyone can at least be there.
Okay, so my experience was a little different. So I only attended the summit for a few hours, but I can remember when we started this in October, and it seems very crazy that, how long it's been, because I remember doing some of the listening sessions, and I think it just speaks to how thoughtful all of this process is. I'm so grateful to see all the reports and really see it coming through. So with the listening sessions, I think I probably said this a couple times, but having it go through the clubs and being offered up to students, we offered it up a lot to students, but having a mandated like club meeting where we all got to sit and talk. I think it's one of the first time, I mean, in my 3 years at BFA that, you know, we sat down and we said, okay, what is not going as well with those questions that you asked, and what's going good and what's not going not so good. And it was just such a, I remember in each of the spaces, it's a very safe space, knowing that, okay, this is confidential, you can say what you mean. And I think it's amazing that it's coming to like fruition. And we got a lot of information from the students and clubs, and after that, we decided to do the interviews because we wanted some like more concrete. And I think it becomes a lot different instead of hearing it from me or on a piece of paper when you see a student giving their personal experiences, and you can put a face to that experience. And I think the interview that was run by students, like 4 students, was amazing. And I think it helped us see a lot of like what's kind of going on. And I also think something else to say is there's a lot to talk about with each different club and different members. We did some with like, I don't know how to say it, people's different experiences, and to compare those are so contrasting that I think I really took a lot away from that. That's kind of what it meant to me, is being a part of those or giving my experience is so much different than, you know, anybody else that's sitting next to me. Hopes for the future. I hope we can keep doing this because I think we talk a lot about changing the culture and students being able to change what's around them and affect who or what the environment that they live in. Because I think a lot of students walk around each day and they think, oh, I have to be here and this is how it has to be. And, you know, even though I don't like it, I can't do anything about it. And I think that it's so important to say, you know what, you can if you have that avenue and have that space. So that was my experience. Thank you.
Thank you. Community members, Tracy. That would you are welcome to.
So first of all, I just want to say thank you to the district for having the courage to move forward with this work. And I'm really grateful to have had the opportunity to be a part of this process. At a time when conversations about equity are so divisive, I was really struck by the mutual respect, learning, and sharing of ideas that occurred during the summit, but also in our organizing committee. Although individual members of the committee may have had different experiences and viewpoints that shaped their beliefs around equity, we all share a common goal of wanting all students to have a safe and welcoming environment in which to learn and grow. And really my hopes for the future is that this work will continue and will grow, and that more people in our district will be open to listening and learning from one another. Even if we cannot walk in another person's shoes or have not experienced the inequities that we may hear described, I would imagine that we've all felt hope when another person has shown us compassion at a time of suffering in our lives. And by progressing this work through the action steps that have been identified, I think we can offer hope to those in our community who have told us that they are suffering, even here tonight. Thank you.
Jen?
Yep. I'm Dr. Jen Williamson, and I don't think Tracy's did such a good job. Trying to block the top with this. It was a great experience overall. I really appreciated the different methods in which, you know, information and experiences were extracted from us. The community conversation or the listening sessions were just awesome to sit down with a bunch of other parents, and everybody shared like what they have been dealing with as parents of kids in these schools, and just hearing all of that. And then when it came to organizing it and having a summit, if you all haven't seen that video, you have to see the video. The students did such an amazing job. I have chills just thinking about it. It was so eye-opening. The hardest person, like, who would not, like, would be so anti-equity, would be turned by this video. There's no way that any human could watch that video and not be completely motivated to to do equity work and to make sure that the students are having a fair shot at quality education, because currently they're not, and it's really sad. So, yeah, it was a great summit. It was wonderful to see how many community members came out and were engaged, and, you know, we came up with a lot of really good ideas to help you go forward and come up with a plan of how to get this done. So, I'm really looking forward to seeing what the board does with this. Yeah.
Is Matt back on, or is he, no?
And Akuma is on,
Oh.
so I don't know, she has something she wants to say as well. So
Yeah.
this would be, since she's a parent and a community member.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to ask her, Matt.
If there's anybody.
Yeah, if there's any parent that was part.
Was there any other community members, Nakuma, or anybody else who would like to speak on this?
I can speak on. I actually was very happy how well we got together and talked about some harder issues. And I'm really glad that Maple Run actually took the time to engage the community in this.
Thanks, Nakuma.
And so sharing my perspective as a staff member, because that's how I was initially brought into it. Yeah, I think from the very beginning, it was clear that people were, from our listening session, it was clear that people were serious about this work. Thoughtful was a word they used earlier. It felt right from the beginning that it was thoughtful, meaningful work. And no matter what our differences were, there was one common goal that we could all hold on to. And even when things got a little uncomfortable, we'd go back to that goal of this is about the students, and every one of us wants our students to have access and to feel safe and comfortable in our school environments. And honestly, my hope is that we can just continue this. I think with what Leah was saying as far as being thoughtful, and that was quite a while ago, and when you are being thoughtful and intentional, it can last a little longer than some people have the stamina for. And so I hope that's something we can continue building on as we work through all the things we need to work through, that we can continue to find grace for each other, and help each other continue with this very important work. Is there anybody else who wanted to speak? Everyone had a chance to. So that's me. Back to this. Thank you all for sharing your perspectives.
Okay.
Appreciate that. So now we're going to look at the 5 key theme areas and the vision of what it would look like when we achieve each of them. So this working on defining these 5 key areas. And the first one is rigorous academics and expectations. And there are a lot of quotes you can see up there. Some of them that stood out to me. Participants told us, and I tried to focus on this student perspective. Teachers set the bar so low for some people, they're not pushing us to be successful. And I think this usually comes from a really great place, but it prevents us from experiencing the academic rigor we could experience. When we are successful with this, it will be visual, and we will see it through all MRUSD students will be aware of and have access to high quality learning opportunities. The next theme, consistent policies to address bias and behavior issues. This was a highlight of most of our conversations and around equity, and a couple of the quotes came from the students. Discipline is not the same. Nothing happens to some kids. Other kids are under the microscope. And there's nothing set up to help students when they report something bad and hurtful. And as we talk about restorative practices and that stuff, we got to close that loop. So we'll know we're successful when the MRUSD community has a clear understanding of what harassment and bias are, the impact they have, and the consequences, as well as the skills to address it. Support services for students and families is the third theme, and we were told, amongst other things, we should use the school buildings 12 months out of the year to support our students, that our schools should be a community central hub. And we'll know we're successful with this when the MRUSD community has easily accessible, seamless, and coordinated information on available services in the schools or in the community. Fourth one is opportunities for family and community engagement. The participants told us we need to close the disconnect between this family and school. We can do things like inviting families and caregivers in to share their own knowledge, experience, and expertise. And we'll know we're successful when there is an ongoing, intentional, two-way communication with the school and the greater MRUSD community. And the last theme is community education and action on inclusion. Participants told us that spaces are created for students to feel safe and heard by their peers and educators about their lived experience in this community. And hate towards marginalized groups is a result of a lack of education. We're in small town Vermont. We need to be educated about differences. And we'll be successful when all students in all schools have meaningful, structured, and consistent education and skill building regarding equity. And in Appendix A, there's a list, which is the next slide. There's a list of prioritized next steps to be taken, reference to the different themes they will support. Any of the tasks will support 2 or more themes along with enhancing student voice. On the screen, you can see 8 of the 18 tasks we believe the district should consider prioritizing. Thank you for the time to present the report.
Thank you very much. Is there any questions? Guess not. I think we'll be talking about
Yeah,
this.
I just want maybe some next steps is that the board needs to take this and talk about it and get some, have some goals. And my vision, and I want to say it that way because it's not going to be, may not be the vision, but my vision and hope, maybe I should say hope and not vision. That's probably the better word. My hope is that these will become goals for the district. I know the goals committee is meeting on the 14th to take this information and then come back to the board with a recommendation, which hopefully will be quickly. And then we'll turn around and look at the building strategic plan after on this.
And at that meeting, will there be representation from the committee, just in case there's any questions?
We will, we'll make sure we invite. That's a really good idea, Joan. And we didn't necessarily invite them, but some of the members of the organizing committee are part of the goals committee. Okay. Nakuma, who's online, yourself, you've been in both places. Susan's been in some of that too. So,
thank you.
But it's really taken the.
The only question that I had was how the group arrived at the 8 prioritization priority standards there.
It was, so you were talking about that last slide that we had up there, the 8 of the 18. That was through the work that we did at the summit.
After the summit.
After the summit, we came back together with all the ideas and kind of prioritized what things we wanted to really make a priority.
And it's not, if you look at number 1 versus number 18, it's not ranked necessarily that way.
That was my question.
It's those are all priorities. From what Sue and Zariah have told me about, those are all priority tasks.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And they're just kind of separated by different theme areas.
Did we get a chance to talk about these
Yeah. I mean, if you have pieces.
right now? Or just later? That's what I'm wondering. Can we just look at that?
I'm going to say yes, you can talk about it.
Oh, no.
If you have questions.
Well, no, I guess I didn't have any questions. I was just like, are we gonna like go in depth, like with like us or just the?
So I think what's going to happen is our next step is to meet with the goals committee for the district, for the board. And that's, well, the goals committee, which we're going to be doing next week. And then the week after that, we're going to have a board retreat, and I suspect we'll also be talking about goals that will include these. And then I'm assuming we're going to come up with a plan.
Yeah, I think what it really needs, the talking about the goals will happen in a board meeting, probably in July or August, to task.
Yeah.
To task creating, and I hope the board, part of my hope is that the board says to the leadership team, don't do this on island as a leadership team, do this collaboratively with the community, just as you have. Don't stop the community involvement, keep it going. And so we have to figure out how to do that.
If I can add one more thing, I mean, we've talked about the work we've done, and obviously we hope that the board continues along this and is as passionate as the students have shown, the staff has shown, the community has shown, and that we can continue this work. And it really does come down to our school board, and hopefully you all are on board with continuing this work. The students really deserve to happen in our schools.
And before you're done, I'd like to recognize someone. She does a lot of behind-the-scenes work, and she won't want me to do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway, is Erin Rushlow. We couldn't have done this project without her. She took this on head on. Really was doing the community outreach, gathering all the small details to make everything come off perfectly, and she deserves our recognition, and I want to say thank you, Erin, for everything.
Thank you, Erin. Alrighty, so any other discussion about that?
Just as we go forward with this, I think one thing to keep in mind is to try to identify measurables of success as well. Like we have the, what success will look like, and we should try to pinpoint how we could, put that into black and white versus
How do we measure?
opining it.
Yeah. It's important.
Couldn't agree more. It's nice to have both measurable and the anecdotes together.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? And I'm going to move on.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you for taking the lead in the presentation, and thank you to the team for everyone that helped.
This is excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we should thank Sue McCormick's online. She's from Creative Discourse Group, and she did a lot of help to facilitate the work. So thank you, Sue.
Thank you. So we're moving on to old business. And I think we're implicit bias and anti-racist training. Did you want to say anything else?
I wanted to say that we had this piece, this report, and what this report calls for is training. And so some of the partners that we work on with the outside, I know John and I have been waiting for this because I was saying to Dr. Williamson before, there's a right order of operations here. And so one of the partners that we work for looks for a plan. And so before they'll just do awareness training to go any deeper, so we're looking at that for more professional development for our staff. And you're going to hear more about PD in my superintendent's report. So I just wanted to make sure we made that connection for everybody, supporting our staff and their growth as well.
All right. Now we're going to move on to the July board meeting. Right now we have 5 votes, I think, for the July board meeting. It might not be that many anymore.
So,
how many do we have?
That was in 4 now.
4.
So it would not be a quorum.
Yeah. How many? So who can still attend?
July 19th.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Katie, you're...
5, okay.
Katie's in, okay.
So that would be a quorum.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Did you raise your, all right, so we definitely have a quorum. Okay, good.
No.
I don't know why, that email got sent out, I didn't see it, but I'm fine with that.
All righty, so we will have the July board meeting, and that's going to be on July 19th. Okay. So the next item is the community conduct.
Do you want to do that second meeting, or do you want to do that under board?
Oh, yeah, so I guess I should do that. So we are going to need a second meeting between now and then. There's a whole list of things that we need to get covered. So it's the BFA Chromebook purchases, SATEC piping replacement, FY24 co-curricular and extracurricular guidelines, the DLO renewal contract, the flagpole, 2 safety policies that we're going to need board adoption by August 1st, and then we also need to review candidates to fill a vacant St. Albans town seat. And if we can confirm, and now another seat. Peter resigned. Oh. Yes. So I'm wondering if we could look at our calendars and maybe put something on the last week in June. I'm open June 28th.
And we just can't get what we need to on
Done
the
tonight.
June 20th.
Oh.
We were going to do
June
the retreat.
21st.
We were doing the retreat.
It was the retreat.
So we were wondering if
And could we add any actions
So
there that would just be
You will go ahead.
easy?
I don't think that we can, because the retreat is really training versus an open meeting that we would have to
Right.
have, and then.
I will not be here then, but I could be on remote.
Okay.
just so you know.
So does the 28th work for?
Just a refreshment, we do not have a meeting on July 3rd.
We do not.
That's right.
We do not. So we wouldn't be meeting again until July 19th for a formal board meeting.
You okay?
Would that work for you?
Oh, Amanda.
Yeah.
So should,
Oh,
I don't know,
feel
if
bad
the
now.
27th works better.
No,
Okay, I don't, Suzanne, is that something that would work for you?
yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so it looks like we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we'd have a
Katie, you good on the 28th
June.
of June?
Okay,
Yeah.
That's fine.
okay, so what that means is, we're also going to, as of tonight, have to add in another, another open position, and
I'm willing to post, I just wasn't
Okay.
clear from the last meeting, that's why I hadn't posted yet for it. Susan and I talked about it, we just wanted to confirm, you said.
so we'll meet on the 28th and hopefully listen or have people that are, want to present themselves to the board
Yep.
as candidates to fill Peter and Nina's position.
Is there any way to move that 14th meeting onto one of those existing dates? Because now that would be like 6 meetings this month.
What do you mean?
We're doing the goals as well,
Oh,
so there's 2
right.
meetings
Yeah.
for that. We try to get, I
What,
was
are 2
hoping that we were
meetings or
gonna be
one?
able to do them on,
I think,
on like 5 o'clock before a board meeting, but that hasn't been able to happen.
well, you have a good question there. We just established one meeting for goals, right?
Yep.
The 14th.
The 14th.
Okay,
You said 2.
so are you asking to have it on the same night as the 14th?
I was asking if we could have that one on one of our existing board meetings at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, that's why I think you and I are saying the same thing, I'm just trying to make it work.
So, yeah, but I don't think it was possible.
It's not up to me.
No, I'm just wondering, how was our response? No, Aaron, the reason I'm pointing at you, what was our
Yeah, we're not-
response for the goals? It was that, the 14th was the
14th
best,
at 5 o'clock.
was the best night, we would miss people, was the 28th, right?
Are we gonna do that an hour for the goals? Do you think? Do you think we do it that an
I don't know if you want to make it at like 7.
Yeah, forget it. You'll be fine.
hour? But we could do it maybe 6:30, is that gonna give us enough time? Board meeting at 6:30, if people are available on the 14th.
Are people available on the 14th, and then we give you your birthday back?
I'm not available.
You're not.
June 14th?
3, 4,
June 14th?
Let me check real quick, sorry.
Katie, June 14th?
Oh,
Yeah, of course.
that would work? It would work for you?
A lot of it's just, yeah, I don't know that we'll have, a week is kind of short for people to reply.
Yeah, I didn't mean to put it there. I was wondering if we could move it.
The goals, and I know that we tried.
I don't want to slam it, that might be too much for people. It's fine, I'll do the 28th. It'll be great. Unless you don't want to do it 14th.
Okay, what if we do this? What if our next board meeting is June 14th at 6:30? And can we have it here?
We can have it here, that's not a problem. I just don't know if you'll get responses for the seats. So that's all I just want to warn you about.
Oh, that's right, that's
Only
right.
a week,
Yeah,
I wasn't
okay.
trying to do
You're right.
that earlier. I was.
So I think.
Sorry, we'll bring a cake.
I was gonna say, I would think you would if we told people last. I mean,
We haven't officially announced it. A couple people have asked me about it, and I said I wanted to check with the board about posting, so.
Charlie, what are you thinking?
I'm just wondering how imperative is it that we have, like, is it reasonable to wait until the July meeting to fill vacancies?
Well, we're down 2 members, and 1 member's having a hard time attending. So
So we're down to-
we're getting close to a quorum issue.
Okay.
It's really up to you as a board how you want to deal with that. That's not mine to tell you. I'm just trying to help you as a board keep yourself staffed.
How are you going to let people know that those are open?
We'll be putting those out as we have previously. We've done Facebook, newspaper ads. We try to put it out all over the place to solicit people that are
Porch
interested.
forum.
Front porch forum. We've done that. What else are we missing, Aaron?
I think you covered the social
All of
medias,
the
the
schools.
website, social medias, the website, the messenger, front porch forum. I think those are the main ones.
Now word of mouth.
You could put it on the town website for each of the towns.
Yeah, yeah, we can ask to do that.
the announcements for
Yeah, I'm sure we can do that as well. I think the more it's communicated, the better it is.
Okay, so it sounds like we will have the goals meeting on the 14th, and then we will be having a meeting on the 28th at 6 o'clock here at the central office.
Yep. And we'll bring a cake. I know a good chef. I know a good chef. Maybe I can twist his arm.
Okay, so let me write that in.
And the meeting on the 28th.
Yeah.
And Aaron, you'll get invitations out to everybody. I see them reserving their calendar right now, but we'll send one out.
I'll send an invitation out.
Great, thank you.
You can't do a cake remotely.
No, we can't, sorry.
Alrighty, so the next item is item C, community conduct, and we're looking for an action on this. The administration recommends a motion to adopt the Maple Run Community Expectations Document. So I'm gonna make a motion that we do that, and I'd need a second.
I'll second.
Okay. And then discussion.
So I gave you a draft from Rutland Northeast last time, and the leadership team has worked really hard on this. We spent quite a bit of time yesterday and giving feedback and pieces into it. One of the things we didn't want to do is make it sound punitive or scolding. We were working really hard on that, but a way to being positive, and everyone join us in this endeavor. And we had some outside folks help us with that as well. So we really were trying to do that, and we like the guidelines. We were really hoping to be, my hope is that those will really become more of our norms of how we do work.
And this would also be relevant for the complex.
Complex everywhere.
Okay.
Everywhere. And that this is, it's really about, you know, we talked a lot about the words, I had the words initially on here, community members, and we talked a lot about who are community members. So we really worked on that. I'm noticing that I don't have the most current version right now in front of me. Yeah. Do you have it right there?
Yeah.
The piece that we had, so I'm wondering if the board's seen the most current version of this.
This is what?
Yeah, you don't have the most current version.
Oh, we don't?
No,
Okay.
that's why I'm saying.
What I read,
Yeah.
I mean, I thought you did a great job all the way up until implementation.
Yeah, and so we've changed, well, so we're gonna get a couple copies for you, and then can someone send a copy to Katie? Katie, we're gonna send you a copy, the latest version. As I said, we worked on this really yesterday till about noon time.
Okay.
And I gave you an earlier version just so you had an idea where we were trying to go. But one of the things we really wanted to talk about was all our community members, our students, family, staff, contractors, and all other folks on our campuses, and anyone who contributes to the lives of our students on and off campus. So we're going to get you a copy of it, and then it's pretty different. That first opening paragraph's really important.
John's going to print them.
So John's going to print them.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
And we fixed that last paragraph too, Joanna, because that was our goal, was to get it positive.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, it was the implementation.
Yep.
Is where I saw the negativity rise again.
Yep. Did, Aaron, did you or Johnson?
I might not have printed it for the hard copy ones, but on the
On
packet.
on the packet, in there, it's correct. In the electronic, it's correct.
Yeah, that's what I read.
Yeah, this, it starts like that.
I thought the first paragraph was fine.
Yep, it looks like this, the format's different.
Yes.
I don't need to read it, I can see the format.
Yeah, it was just, for me, it was just the implementation piece.
Yeah.
And then the paragraph after that.
So, do you have,
The biggest thing we were really trying to do is say, help everyone join us, but that also there were some things that were non-negotiables for how that we need to give people support if they go to those non-negotiables. Because of our community, we've heard from our community, and I really want to use it that way, is we've heard from students, from staff, from parents, of times harm has happened and why it's happened. So we want to say that we'll give you breaks, we'll give you supports, we'll reschedule meetings, but we can't tolerate that in the moment. And all those 4 bullets, we've had to deal with this year.
Yeah, on the daily.
It's some on the daily, you're right, Joanna. Some on the daily. So we're really, I worked with some of our outside partners that have been helping us with our social emotional and with our restorative practices, and just to really try to how to say it clearly and succinctly, and in a way that people were not feeling threatened. Katie, do you have the latest version that starts the Maple Run community is made up of thousands?
Would it have just been sent to me?
It's in the packet.
Aaron says it's in the packet.
Then yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It starts the Maple Run community is made up of thousands of individuals. Yeah. Okay.
so, any other discussion on this, or questions, or?
I'm curious as to what, if the implementation issue that you see is still in this?
I just want to make sure that I didn't miss something. I understand that this is written for Maple Run. I wonder if where it says for the implementation piece that it could be incorporated, like that members of Maple Run and community members, you know what I mean, like that we're all being held to that.
Yeah.
To that standard, I guess that's what I'm trying to say, instead of it being an us and them.
Right.
I don't know, to me, I think it might sound just a little bit more inclusive and that everybody's held to that standard, right? Like everybody needs to be respectful.
If it was something like, we aspire to all of us in our community to interact based on.
Right, just where it says Maple Run Unified School District and its schools will not tolerate the following conduct. So it separates.
Yeah.
Instead of being members of Maple Run and its schools. Yeah, maybe it does, I don't know.
So, because I don't think we can dictate what the community does, although we can
Well,
encourage it.
that's the point of this.
Right, no, right, but I don't know, no, I understand that, but I don't know that we can say Maple Run School District's the community in its schools. Like, I don't know that we can tell the community that they can't tolerate this. We can tell them that Maple Run, but I'm wondering if we
I'm
put.
not saying it, I don't mean it in that way. I mean it, that, and that's what I'm saying. I just read it again, maybe it does say that.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that it's holding not just other people outside of the school accountable for those standards, that it's also people within that meeting who belong to the
Right.
school. That's all I'm saying. That it might, if other people feel that it reads that way, then I'm on board with it. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Am I making sense?
It's good to be clear about it, make sure it's very clear.
I kind of like what you said, in that while we aspire, we as the Maple Run Unified School District and the community aspire to
Yeah,
based.
Yeah, maybe not school, maybe community.
yeah,
Yeah, that might just smooth it out.
yeah. Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does, so we could put the word community in Maple Run, I like it right up front at the beginning. We, the Maple Run School District,
Yes.
and community aspire to interact, and then just let it go from there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we'll take that friendly amendment, unless you think you need to do that with the.
You'll do the friendly amendment.
We'll do the friendly editing that you just gave us.
So, and then we can vote on this and
Yeah.
accept it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I make a motion to accept this Maple Run Community Expectations with the friendly amendment as stated here. I'm wondering if I have a second. Alrighty. So I'm gonna have to take a roll vote. So, Amanda? Suzanne?
Yep.
Charlie?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Joanna?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All righty.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I just want to let you know that that's a huge support to the leadership team. They spoke about that yesterday. I asked them if I was going too fast, and they said no. They want to make a condensed version they want this in the handbooks for next year, and then have condensed versions to help support.
Great.
So this is a really huge support that you're giving us as a community, and I really appreciate that from the board. I say that all heart. I don't hear the emotion in my voice, but I mean it.
So the next item that we added in tonight, and it's the retreat business, that I'm gonna let you speak about that.
Yeah, I want to hand out a few things here, just so you have paper copy. And I'll hand this one that way. Okay. Jaden and Leah, thank you so much for being
Jaden,
here.
welcome. Wait a minute, I have an extra one. And then Katie, how will
Please
Katie
come
get?
back.
How will Katie get?
Katie, we'll get you copies of this paper.
I can come tomorrow if you want.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. You know, your friend will have them here.
I know he will.
So Susan and I met with Tracy Wren, who's going to facilitate the retreat on the 21st. And one of the things that I've read this, and this Essential School Board book, I gave you a packet of reading, because sometimes it's easier just to, I can give it to you online, but sometimes it's better just to have the paper. So I did violate a few, I don't think I'm within 10% of the book, but I'm close. That's the way and it's for educational purposes. So we gave you chapter 1 and chapter 2 to really have, it's a nice easy read of the work that school boards do and the partnership with the superintendent. There's a part here about hiring a superintendent. I hope you don't need to read that, so it's my small joke. But it still talks about what qualities you might seek in the superintendent, and I think it's a good one to talk about review. So there should be a chapter 1 and chapter 2 in there. And then the other thing we gave you was a copy, Susan shared this last time, but the self-reflection survey from the VSBA. So we thought that'd be a good thing to look at, so we could have some discussions and talk and planning with Tracy. And the third thing, and Susan asked me to do this, is I gave you from the Milton School District their rules of engagement. And it's a different way that they have posted on their website for interacting with the public. And so I'd have you speak to that, Susan, because you were really taken by that. If there was anything you wanted to say, or
Yeah, so this is on their website, and I think this is what they talk as in terms of the visitors section, and it just was definitely more clear. I'd like to include some of this, although I think what we have is pretty clear. But I think having something like this on our website in terms of rules of engagement for the community at these board meetings isn't a bad idea.
so we thought that would all be good work, and we really kind of pulled away some of the goals, because one of the things, Susan, you and I heard together is like, if we're going to talk about goals, that really needs to be in an open session. It's not really a retreat piece. You could talk about board goals and what you want to do based
Yeah.
off of this work and have that discussion, but the district goals need to be in an open meeting. And so, so the piece, because you're going to be learning, and Tracy's going to facilitate, Tracy Wren, who's a former colleague of mine, former superintendent, she's helped other boards, just facilitate the meeting. It's always good to have that. But really, just having that talk about what are we doing, and as you said, Joanna, so many times, what are our goals as a board?
Yes.
So you're going to do that work there. Okay?
Patient for 4 years now.
There you go. We're giving, got the chance, got the chance. So, that's what it is. Just wanted to, it's a little homework, but we thought that that would be good. We're gonna start at 5:30. There will be a light dinner. We're up at Hardack Lodge, and then at 6 o'clock, Tracy's planning to start and go to 8 for our work. And we'll be using some of the techniques that we use right in the district that she's gonna be using for our ways that we hold conversations and hold space.
Any other discussion about that? Alrighty, so on to new business. The first item is the Fairfield Center School tractor purchase. And this is, we're looking for a motion to award the bid to MTE Equipment Solutions in Derry, New Hampshire in the amount of $48,654.16. So, I'll make that motion. Okay, discussion, so do you wanna?
Martha's on a lot of these purchasing ones.
So Albert, the facilities manager up at the Fairfield School, went out and put this out to bid, and he got 3 bids from the 3 vendors that you see in front of you. And they are for the exact same tractor, so it's a apples to apples comparison. And the lowest bid came in from MTE Equipment Solutions out of Derry, New Hampshire, and that is our recommendation to go with that purchase. Yeah, and it's just so that there is the accessibility of being able to do some of the work on our own instead of having to contract it all out each year. Yes.
I have 0 issue purchasing a tractor. I'm kind of bummed that we're not purchasing it from somebody in Vermont. I mean, Champlain isn't even on there. Oh wait, it is. But
Yeah.
Berlin, I mean, like, why aren't we working with somebody local?
Well, Champlain Equipment Berlin, they are the same as the one that's in St. Albans. It's just, that's the headquarters,
Okay.
yes. Yes, but they came in at the highest bid.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just gonna say, well, that's my 2 cents. I'm bummed that we're not supporting somebody local.
What's the brand of the tractor?
It's a Kubota. Yeah.
And this is a new tractor, or is it used?
It's a new tractor, yeah.
Any other discussion? So I think we're gonna take a vote on the motion to award the bid to MTE Equipment Solutions in Derry, New Hampshire. So it's gonna be a roll call, so Amanda?
Yes.
Suzanne?
Yes.
Charlie?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Susan is a yes. Joanna?
Yes.
You don't have to say yes. Jack?
Yes.
Not against it.
So that motion passes.
Thank you.
All right, the next item is the Town Educational Center C-South flooring replacement. And so I'm looking for a motion to award the St. Albans SATEC C-South flooring replacement to Future Floors in the amount presented. So can I have a second on that?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Amanda. Discussion?
And again, Derek Madden, the facilities director at SATEC, gathered the proposals for this project and is seeking to go with Future Floors, which we've used multiple times. and they are also the lowest bidder.
Where are they out of?
South Burlington.
Okay.
What's the brand of the floor? I'm asking because
Floortex 50 cm tiles.
They've been, I know that the facility directors have been really particular on their type of flooring.
Yeah.
So it's really cutting down the maintenance
Mhm.
ability, that waxing.
what I'm concerned is one of my sons sells flooring. I
Oh.
want to make sure.
That you're not.
I need to recuse myself.
Okay.
So it's not a Target,
No.
is the company he works for. Okay. Then I can go there.
Okay, any other discussion? So we're gonna take a vote, a roll vote. So Amanda?
Yes.
Suzanne?
Yes.
Charlie?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Susan is a yes. Joanna?
Yes.
And Jack?
Yes.
Okay, so that's awarded to Future Floors.
Thank you.
So the next item is, I'm looking for a motion to appoint the board chair and a board member to approve the superintendent's salary, which would really be a negotiation. So I'm gonna make that motion, and I'm looking for a second. Okay. So now the discussion is, my preference is to have Jack sit with me, just because you've done this before and I haven't. Any other discussion, or what are people's feelings?
I think we want to have this candidate for that.
I agree with Charlie, his experience.
Any other
I'm
discussion?
sorry, what did Charlie say? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear.
I'm
I'm sorry, Katie.
I said if he's willing, I think Jack is a good candidate for that.
Any other discussion? Can we take a vote on that? I'm gonna ask us to take a vote on that. So, Amanda,
Yes.
Suzanne,
Yes.
Charlie,
Sorry, we're voting on.
we're voting on having myself and Jack negotiate with the superintendent
Yes.
issue salary. Katie,
Yes?
Susan is a yes. Joanna?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
All right, so that motion passes as well. So the next one is the VisBit FY24 renewal. And do you want to talk
I
about
just
that?
wanted to alert you, Visbit asked us to make sure that you were all aware. It's not something I need you to take action on, but they asked that all boards are made aware, because there's a state statute that you now know what your contribution is to the annual multi-line. So for FY24, that's gonna be $688,633. That's something that came through from state statute, so we added it to the agenda to make sure it was recognized in the notes that it's all been presented to you.
Okay.
And
Is that up from last year?
Yes, it is
I would
up from
imagine.
last year. I'm gonna say it's about 10% up from last year.
Okay.
It's significant, but everything is up from last year.
All right. So, thank you.
And that's our comprehensive insurance package.
All right, so 8E is,
So, I'm sorry, do we, sorry.
That's all right, take
A
your
second
time.
more, and then it's, but you don't, contribution, so it's not anything that we put out for bid, it's just.
No,
Gotcha.
no, we're a member of
Yes.
the multi-line program, yes.
Okay, I'm with you.
I think all but 2 or 3 districts in Vermont
Yeah.
are members of this collaborative that cuts our
So
insurance
it's,
costs.
we don't have a choice. Basically. Thanks.
all right, so the next item is 8E, which is to approve the ESSER project guaranteed maximum price. That's a typo, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, guaranteed maximum price. So I'm looking for a motion to approve the 2023-2024 capital improvement ESSER project GMP number 1 in the amount of $1,002,061 $261,314. And to authorize Superintendent Kimball to execute a contract with Engelberth Construction.
So moved.
All right, so now, discussion.
So
I'll leave that
we-
to you before then.
So,
She said so moved, so I thought she
Oh.
was making a motion.
Okay,
You said you're looking for a
perfect.
motion.
Oh,
Sorry.
she said so
You
moved,
did it.
so I second.
My mistake.
Sorry.
So as you remember, we've been working on this ESSER capital improvement. There's many stages. What there is that the board has to accept the guaranteed maximum price and what's happening, and we gave you in the memorandum, it gives you a quick idea of some of the pieces. We are not finished bidding out the work. There's a total of, total project's $5.5 million. As everything, we've been hearing tonight about prices going up, construction's gone literally through the roof. And some of our roofing is changing too, so that's why I can kind of make a joke about that. But we've had to really cut down the project and the scope of it, but we're gonna spend all the federal dollars and the local dollars that this board allotted to make that happen. We are cutting down the scope of it. We will not be doing work at SATEC. And we're really cutting down the scope at SACS, and it was agreement with the facilities directors that our buildings that need it the most are Fairfield and BFA, especially BFA. So there's a lot of, there'll be a second bid package that will happen later this summer. We hope in August. I'll be bringing you part 2 that will finish it, and we can get going. If you may not recall, we have to spend all the federal dollars by September 30th, 2024. So we're on a tight timeline to get this done. The good work is, half the money for this project is coming from the federal dollars and half of it's coming from our capital fund, and it's leaving our capital fund so we can do more work. And those buildings I said that aren't in there, we took we took a bunch out of city school and all of town school, that those are the next ones to do out of the capital plan project, so.
So are we ready to vote on that, Charlie?
I have a couple questions. So out of the 1.2 million here, how much of that is federal dollars?
Most of this is not federal dollars. About the only thing that will be on here that's here is the ADA ramp at City School. The rest of this we have to use as local money because it's not qualified for the ESSER federal relief money. What you're gonna see in the next one is a lot of HVAC. But like a good example is at Fairfield. We have to do the HVAC we need to do. We gotta take down the drop ceiling. If we're gonna take down the drop ceiling, let's insulate it so we're not wasting energy. So we're using our local dollars to do what the federal dollars don't allow us to do, and use the federal dollars for what's allowable, like HVAC.
And actually, the ADA ramp is another thing I'm question about. Is that to make the ramp in City School actually useful for people who need it? Because right now it's ridiculous.
That's what we're doing. It's going right next to the stairs.
All right, I'm very excited about that.
So am I, and there are a lot of people that join you in that it's not equitable to make people to walk to the other side of the building. So we're putting it right next to the stairs and go right up.
It's gonna be a long ramp.
It's gonna actually go up, it's gonna be a ramp like this, because you
Back and
can't
forth,
fit
yeah.
it in to get the correct slope to get up that changing right, yeah. Matt, I don't even know, or Christie, if you knew about that, but we're trying to get it so it's right where the entrance is to make it more equitable for everybody. But it's, as you can see, it's almost $100,000 to do that. And that can get done this summer. So.
Alrighty, so we are gonna take a vote on approving the 2023-2024 capital improvement ESSER project, GMP number 1, in the amount of $1,261,314. And to authorize Superintendent Kimball to execute a contract with Engelberth Construction associated with this work. So, Amanda?
Yes.
Suzanne?
Yes.
Charlie?
Yes.
Katie? Susan, that's a yes. Joanna?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
Alrighty. It's done. So, the next item is warrants. The administration recommends a motion to approve the warrants, acknowledging that the passage of this motion will act as authorization and signature of any individual board members participating remotely. So will someone make that motion? Okay, second? All right, so we're gonna take a roll call on that. Amanda,
Yes.
Suzanne,
Yes.
Charlie,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
me, Susan is a yes, Joanna,
Yes.
and Jack.
Yes.
Alrighty. So those will be sent around.
Yes, Jack's starting them, and then we'll
Alrighty.
go this way.
And the next item is superintendent reports.
Yep. So I have a little bit of a bulleted list here. Most of them are celebrations. And then I'll go from there. First thing I want to let you know, on May 22nd, up at Collins Pearly, they hosted a regional bocce tournament for unified teams. It's the first time since 2019 this tournament's been able to happen because of COVID. And so it was a great, great time. It had most of Northern Vermont high schools, middle school, and elementary teams. We had about 225 players up there. The unified, it's part of our unified sports program. We had about 50 BFA students who were volunteer refs for it. It was just a beautiful event. I wish I had some pictures here. And I'd really like to thank Kasha Billadou and Bill Mercier, who coached the BFA Unified team and helped organize the whole event. It was just a beautiful, beautiful day. And our local Elks Club provided all the food for it. So it was just a really beautiful community partnership and just a great, great event. So I wanted to give that some highlight. The second thing I wanted to invite you all to, and I realize it's during the middle of the afternoon, so it may be hard, but on tomorrow afternoon, June 8th, the Unified Theater will be presenting their play Wiley and the Hairy Man in the PAC at BFA, and the students have worked really hard at this, so I invite you all to be there. It's at 3:30. If you can, I'm going to try to make it there myself at some point. But it's just, they've been working really hard on that. I've seen the kids working on that. Another thing I'd like to let you know is I think I let the board know that, as you all know, PCB testing is happening across the state for all schools. City School was tested, and we've gotten our preliminary results. Those results will go public next Wednesday. I want to tell the board there's nothing to be alarmed about. I will get you those results. We're putting together the letters. But it actually, I was very surprised because it was built in the prime time for PCBs. I'm stumbling over my letters here because it was built in the late 60s. So we were very happy with what came out. But I will send you the letter so you have it before the community gets it, and we're finishing that tomorrow. That's why I'm being a little vague right now. I just want to make sure we have the right rollout so we don't get anyone alarmed, but there's no need to be alarmed. Everyone's fine. We are nowhere near where some of our colleague schools are in the state of Vermont. So, the next thing I want to talk to you about is Act 29, and Susan referenced this earlier when we were talking about board meeting dates. Act 29 came out of the legislature, which Act 29 is to bolster school safety, and there's some really tight timelines, and there's required policy that boards must adopt by August 1st. For required, there are two policies, one on fire and emergency preparedness drills, and the type of drills that we have active response drills. We already have those. Our leadership team is looking at the policies right now to see if there's anything of issue, but I think I can say for the team, yesterday when we quickly started to look at we've only had the draft policies for a week. I don't think there was anyone that was alarmed by that. And our safety team, Aaron, helps lead the safety team for the district that has members from all across the district along with our DLO and other EMS folks on it. And I don't think they were, Aaron,
We're
right?
actually doing pretty much everything that was just passed already, so we're ahead of the game.
So, the second part of that is there's an access control and visitor management that we have to have one location that all outside doors are locked. There are two buildings that this is going to be an issue for, Collins Pearly and this building. The schools are already set up to do this, and all the outside doors are locked. I can't guarantee that 100% because it's easy for someone to go out and put a pebble in a door. I just want to give reality here. We train all the staff, don't do that, please look for it, people do look for it. You can't always, you know, you catch it, right, and you fix it. I know that, I'm just going to use city school because I know the procedures of all schools, but it's been really well, you know, make sure the outside doors are locked to your classrooms, your egress doors, that they're always there. Christy, you have one like that. I know it's really emphasized, is probably the best word. And so the issue that we have in this building is we do not have a security system, and we don't have that type of system to protect this building. So we're going to have to look at that. And at Collins Pearly, there are so many areas of access up there, and we use it as our, you have to remember, Collins Pearly is our part of our school. It's where we hold PE classes. While most people enter through the front, I don't want to say that doors aren't always open. And so I unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to work with Tim on this, and to say, you know, how are we going to address the Collins Pearly? It does have a security system. It does have, I don't have mine on me tonight, but it does have a lanyard system like what John has around his neck with a card, and that does work on all doors. It's just that I could tell you this afternoon when I was up there and the seniors were having their beach day because they had to move it there from Georgia Beach, the garage door at the end of the rink was wide open because they were cooking, they had the barbecues going, cooking hot dogs and hamburgers. So, and that can, there are some exceptions you can put in there for curriculum. It's going to be, we have to do some work to figure that out.
So I had a question. We had a music concert, you know, and we do ours during the school day over at Sheldon. And I just paused and thought for a second. All of a sudden, we opened up our doors to 200 or 300 and 400 people. Like, what are we doing? I mean, not that I'm excited even to think about the prospect of having like metal detectors or something like that at a small rural Vermont school. It's horrible to think about, but how do we know that you're not checking people's IDs when they walk into a science night? You're not checking people's IDs when they walk into, you know, like, I don't so that seems like still a weak link. And so I went to my niece's bat mitzvah in Massachusetts this past weekend, and there was a security guard at the temple. You know, like, I'm just not used to that.
Yeah.
It hasn't always been that way, but now it is what it is, and so there was, you know, security upon walking in. But how do we account for that? And are there other schools? I'm thinking about other schools that have had active shooter situations. What are they doing now? Do they all have metal detectors? And when you have visitors that come in, does everybody have to go through those lines? How is it being handled? And I don't know the answer to me, but I'm just interested in that form of protection, that form of security, I guess, because we go from having, you know, a regular 300 student, you know, and teachers in there, to all of a sudden having close to, you know, it could be upwards, especially if you're talking about city or town or BFA, it could be a couple thousand people that you just let into the building.
For Friday night at BFA, for the appreciation night.
Yeah.
Like, all these people are coming in, and, you know, crowds, just.
And the last thing I want to do would be to hinder any kind of community events. That's certainly not where I'm getting at, but it was just something that I have thought about. I think there, like, how do you even know that these are the people that are supposed to be here?
I think about it a lot, and I know our safety team does. You know, and I know that I will tell you in the past 24 hours, we've had a lot of questions because of what happened in Richmond yesterday around graduation and the attack that happened there during graduation. And our safety team met today to make sure graduation, and I'm fully confident in what they did. And these are the plans. We have everything from a student having a medical event to what happens, and these plans are there.
Sure.
You know, and so, but I also, you have to balance that safety and that welcoming, and how do you do that? And I don't have an answer for you, but I think it's one we have to talk about. And as you said this, and I'm going to write myself a note here, and I'm losing his name right now, but the person that leads the safety for the state, Rob Evans, thank you. Rob he has done presentations, and I think it may be one that we as superintendents can ask, is there a way, or through the VSBA, is there a way a presentation can come from Rob Evans about, because he talks about this delicate balance. How do you do that, still be welcoming, but ensure safety? And what the model policy says is during school hours. So sometimes you have events during school hours where you're bringing 200-300 people in, and sometimes you have events after hours, and there's the 2,000 in the tennis courts at Collins Pearly. So you have to think about all those and how do you keep it safe?
Right, yeah.
I mean, sad bit of reality is that we have a lot of data on violence in schools, and that would be something where it would be useful with whatever agency or journals or information that we can get as far as compile, how that data is compiled when, school shootings sadly are happening a lot, when the trends, my guess is that a lot of them are during school hours, and that part of the reason that things are more lax in the off-hour events is because those are less at risk, but that's just a guess, I don't have any actual.
Right, we need to look at, and Rob is a great one to ask that, we can, so like I said, I'll make a note to get to Rob and to ask through the associations, both the school boards and the superintendents, to see if there's a way he can come and talk about this, because, I mean, I've got the printout right here that you all received from the School Boards Association that announced this, right? So I think there's some training for board members about how do you deal with this topic as a board, and how do you ensure your schools are safe, and what's the board's role, what's the superintendent's role, what's our EMS colleagues' roles. All valid.
Yeah, I mean, like even in policy form, if we were gonna have school hour events, during school hour events, is that when we would make sure that there's
Sign in.
is there, or are there cameras, I don't know. Like, what could we do to raise the level of security?
Yeah. I know I'm very confident, and I don't want to say that and have something go wrong, so I'm going to do this, but I trust our folks who are working on it. We've got some really good folks who are helping us with security in our schools. So that doesn't mean we couldn't do more. It's just, I think we have good people. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about, sorry, I lost my pages here. This board was great in supporting us in changing some of the days at the end of the school year. And as I told you, we did receive the waiver from the state, so we have 3 days of professional development in service at the end of the year. And I wanted to celebrate the Maple Run staff. They've stepped up, and over 90% of our offerings are being led by our staff. They've gotten training to a level which they can train others. So whether it's restorative practices, literacy, math, special education, all the changes that are happening in Act 173, I should keep these back on. Some OT-PT services and helping support students who provide that. Science of reading, some pre-K teacher pieces, our physical education teachers are doing some work together, and John did a really nice job of saying to you, if you've got something you want to propose, here's the outline to propose it. It's got to be vetted, and it has to meet, because a lot of this we're funding through the titles grants, and so it gets into federal requirements. But that worked really well, and I think he's done a really nice job working with the teachers. And I really want to say it that way, because I've watched over the past 2 weeks of, hey, here are the literacy interventionists. They're all coming together and planning this literacy that they're doing for all the interventionists. Here are the math folks and working with All Learners Network, and how are they doing that? So it's just so exciting to see us at that place where we're developing our own trainers of the staff, and that's coming from inside. I do want to say we have had a hiccup. My colleague there at the end of the table would say, he won't say this, but I'll say it for him. He's frustrated because our vendor from the outside that helps us with software for signing up for the courses we have a technology glitch. language. And so I think he's gonna have to go to Google Forms, which makes it a lot harder to do instead of, and I see my teacher colleagues here all smiling because they know about it. But I just want the board, if you're hearing, hey, people saying there's like, they're all this stuff, but we can't sign up. John's on it, but there's so much good work going on. We gotta see the end in mind that's gonna happen. It's gonna be great growth. And I think people will.
I'm not gonna need haircuts after this weekend, by the time we get all set up.
But he's done a really good job in that, and I know, he just told me at 5 o'clock, he's like, I'm going to Google. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry for that, because that means a lot. What our software is supposed to do is provide all the rosters and all the certificates and have it all organized, and now there's gonna be a lot of handwork, but we'll do that, that's gonna get done. And that's part of doing the work, so. Those are my celebrations, my announcements, and that's part of the reason why we need the meeting in June, so we have at least 2 meetings for those policies. The leadership team will have input by the end of next week, and we'll have those to you for that meeting on the 28th, and then July 18th. That's what I have for it.
So we're gonna move on to board announcements. Charlie?
Yeah, just, on May 31st, there was a Clean Water Summit down in Burlington, Vermont, and I want to give a shout out to St. Albans City School had 4th through 6th graders doing a keynote speech. And I just wanted to give a little context to that. I worked from 2016 to 2022 full-time with Vermont F-Score, which is a grant-funded organization through the University of Vermont, basically designed to stimulate competitive research in Vermont versus having all researchers go to, say, MIT or something. From I'm trying to get my dates straight, 2010 to 2020, so 10 years, they had 2 $20 million grants, specifically focused on research in the lake, and a lot of that research was done in St. Albans Bay. In fact, when we had our government folks up to determine, to see what we're using the money for, we brought them down to the stone house by the bay so they could take a look at the algae blooms on the lake. And unfortunately, those are giving us a lot of good data. But that is a fairly big event that represents collaborations with Vermont and New York and Canada in terms of cleaning up the bay, or cleaning up the lake in general. And so I think it's pretty impressive that we have elementary school students from Maple Run up there giving a presentation of that magnitude.
It's awesome.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
I went last week to the technical center. Leanne was nice enough to give me a tour. And I saw what her and her team does there, the programs that they offer, and the children. I was surprised to think teenagers, how teenagers can be. They were very engaged and excited to show what they're working on, what they're learning, what they're hoping to do, and a career path possibly. And it's great that we have that within the community for children to participate in. It's a valuable asset. And I encourage, if you haven't done there, to go take a tour.
And along that lines, I had a student from the tech center shadow me this week for a couple hours, and it was just great to see her interest and all the fantastic questions that she asked and her ability to engage with the person that I was working with. So it was really nice.
Great you went there and you said, I would invite any of you if you wanted to see any of our schools, especially if it's a school that your children went to a different school and you wanted to see another one. I've heard from our leadership team, they'd be glad to have you come in and see. And I think that's the best way to kind of get to know what's going on. I don't even want to call it observing or monitoring. It's just like, what's the day in the life like? And I know the school is not the same as when I was a student as it is now. And I get to see it every day. So, but thank you, that was great.
Jack?
So I've had 2 experiences in the past couple of weeks. I went to the city school music concert, and obviously I'm looking at it through the lens of my granddaughter, but I we stayed and watched all the groups after my granddaughter was in one of the first groups. But the music teachers did a phenomenal job, and having been a music teacher 50 years ago, actually that's true. Getting kids in after 1 year and they're putting on a concert is kind of an amazing thing. So that was the music thing. Then I've gone to 2 track meets for elementary schools in the area that have been held at Collins Pearly, and city school and town school have been involved. And it's just fantastic watching all these kids run and throw and jump their hearts out. And just got a big kick out of that. So fantastic job the schools are doing in both sports and music for young kids as they're coming up. And I've heard the DFA, the orchestra, and band and so forth, they're absolutely fantastic. But it's nice seeing how the beginners are.
I'd like to piggyback off what Jack said. I was able to go to the District Music Festival up in Enosburg, and I just would like to give a shout out to Mr. Messier and Mr. Bush. The concert was A+.
And I also got to go to BFA for Move Up Day last week. And it was great. It was great for my students, especially who were coming from a very small school, to be going to the high school next year. It's a very overwhelming prospect for them to be able to meet all of their advisors and to see other people in their advisory that they're going to have, for the next 4 years. And I also got an opportunity to sit down with Elaine Archambault and Mark Ginsberg and several other staff members to transition students who might have 504s or ESTs, or even not, who maybe we think, maybe you might want to look at them for MTSS. And so that was just a really great opportunity, and it was just really smart the way that they did it, because they had our kids totally engaged, and then they had the staff able to be at a meeting, per school. And so it was thought it was very well done. So we appreciated it. The kids had a great time. They walked out of there feeling a little bit more confident to walk through those doors come the fall.
And I just want to say, if that's okay, as a softball comment, that the girls are going to the championship game again, so I'm super excited about that. So anybody who wants to see a good game, definitely check that out.
Sunday at Castleton.
Sunday or Saturday?
I think it's Sunday.
I think it's Sunday.
Okay.
I think it's Sunday, but
At 11 a.m.
I don't know the time because they do it different times for different divisions.
So I was going to say the same thing. It was a great game yesterday. But what I noticed was for the first time, I saw the signs at the complex talking, and I don't know how many there are, but I'd say we should spread them out all over that complex, that talked about how the complex is a Maple Run Unified School District property, and that all the policies that apply at the schools also apply there, because I know there are a couple of hiccups last year, and so I think the clearer we can be about that, the better.
Yeah, Tim's done a nice job. Making
Yeah.
sure those go over.
So that's all I have. Anyone else? So I do not believe that there is a need, agendas for future meetings. I kind of went through a bunch of them. Anyone else have any additional agendas? Items? Okay, so the next board meeting is going to be on the 28th at 6 p.m.
Right
Here.
here.
Here. So there's no need for an executive session, so I'm going to adjourn the meeting. 28th, not the 14th.
That's the one we just scheduled, was June 28th.
Wait, is that 6 or 6:30?
6.
6, on the 28th. Here.
Okay.
All right, so we're adjourned.
Yes.